Yeah, hey everyone, Brian with you from TheGameCommon, and we are doing our first AI-only series here with the new Frontier patch in Civilization 6. So we're going to be rolling with the new civs that they just added to the game over the last few months. And before we get too far, let me talk about the mod we're using. So we are using the Better Spectator mod, which is the same one that we've been using for like our last 4 or 5 AI only series. It's been definitely one of the best ones, been working really well for us. I should note though, the mod, I don't know if it got updated for the August 2020 patch, which just came out. I don't know whether or not it updated, because if it did, it was in the background and I didn't notice it. But I will say, even though everything seems to be working with it, it seems to be a little laggy. Like, I tried bumping the graphical quality all the way down to low, and that didn't seem to make a difference with it. I tried turning off the different game modes, and that didn't seem to make a difference. So I just don't know if maybe the mod's not quite optimized with this current patch, or if there's something going on there, or maybe because recently I updated my RAM, now my computer is running the turns so fast that my graphic card can't keep up with it, which doesn't seem right. So I don't know. I don't know if the lagginess is going to continue through the whole game, or if it's just going to be the first few turns when, you know, everything's popping in and all the cities are getting thrown down and stuff like that. So we'll have to see. I think it's still going to be watchable, so we'll just have to play around with it. I tried a bunch of different things. Like, we tried changing all the different graphic settings. I tried, like I said, changing the different game modes. We're running with DirectX 12 when normally I run with DirectX 11, and it's just like, yeah. So as far as I can tell, nothing seemed to fix it. So I already have everything loaded in. We're going to be using the 3 new civs that they added in with the new Frontier patch so far: Lady Six Sky, Menelik, and Simone Balava. Then we're also adding 2 of the alternate civs, or the 2 alternate civs they added in, which is Catherine the Magnificent, and we're rolling with Teddy the Rough Rider. Now with Teddy, technically both of these are new, because essentially what they did is they took the old Teddy and split him between the 2. But I decided to roll with Rough Rider. I actually at first thought about running with all of them, like both Francis, both Teddys, but ultimately with the game being as laggy as it is, I decided let's just keep it a little less on civs for at least this first time, and hopefully here, you know, we can see an update or something starts working a little bit better. But anyways, we're rolling with Rough Rider because Bull Moose has the breathtaking tiles adjacent to natural wonder or mountain, the antiques and parks. They should have named it Parks and Rec. But anyways, we're running with that because, or we're not running with that because we basically are turning all the natural wonders off. So the August 2020 patch, which just came out, this is one of the new options. You can turn on specific wonders if you want, or you can leave them all off. And I think from now on, anytime we do an AI only series, we are going to just turn off all the natural wonders, so a certain civ doesn't get an extra advantage by spawning next to a really good natural wonder. Although, let's be honest, I don't really think it changes the AI. Like, I don't know that a single AI has ever won just because they spawn next to, you know, Matterhorn or something really good, or Toros del Plain or something like that. I just doubt that has actually ever happened. But I think everything else we're leaving the same. Now, normally we do want sea level low. We're doing a primordial map, disaster intensity 4. We're running with all the new game mods. Now, what's interesting is with the tech and shuffle mode, we're not going to be able to see what the tech tree lays out, but with this mod, we can actually click through to the other civs, and then that'll give us a peek into how the different techs and civics are laying out. Now, normally we only go, like, we usually limit our turn to like turn 300. I don't want to do it this time. We're actually going to play it all the way to the end. Normally we stop at 300 because after a round, or usually it's about 275 or so, the game just starts getting really slow to take turns. Now we are only running with what, 5 civs, so it's going to be a little faster than normal, number 1. But then number 2, I really just want to go all the way till someone wins, because I just want to see meteors just destroy everything, and we'll see whether or not the game can actually win. You know what, I think I changed my mind. Let's do 400. Let's actually do 400. The AI on Deity should win by 400. If they don't win by 400, something is absolutely completely messed up, and that's most likely everyone just got destroyed by meteors. So we'll just put the end at 400 because, like, let's be honest, going to 500 turns would take like 6 weeks. So I think everything is fine. So let's go ahead and start game and launch in. Now, are any one of these civs, like, are they going to have an advantage? I mean, I mean, I played as all three of them. They all play quite differently. I wouldn't go so far to say any of them seem necessarily overpowered. Colombia potentially could with the extra movement speed, but we'll see how it ends up working out. The thing is, this game is gonna be very RNG based, even though, you know, I'm trying to do everything in my power to actually get rid of the RNG to make it like, hey, who's the best Civ? By doing Primordial on with Apocalypse mode, we're very much making this a little bit more on the RNG base than normal. If we were going for like straight, like who's the best Civ, we wouldn't want to necessarily do Primordial, and well, we wouldn't really want natural disasters at all, because that's just all RNG stuff. But that's not fun. Like, what's fun about this game is things blowing up and meteors hitting people. So immediately you can kind of see the lagginess here. Like, I'm clicking right now and holding, and you can see how bad this lag is. So part of it, I think, is because all the barbarian camps are spawning in and everyone's throwing down cities. So hopefully it improves here over time. Let's take a quick look. So this is what the alternate tech tree looks like. I'm wondering how different this is. Yeah, this is actually quite a bit different from our current game that we are playing as Norway. That's really cool. I'm actually really excited to play this many times and just see how this shakes out every single time. It seems to be quite vastly different than what we had last time. Early Empire's here. That's interesting. So foreign trade is here and early Empire is actually here. Oh, that's interesting, because normally, well, in my previous game, you could grab foreign trade and early empire right away. There was no prereqs to it. So that is really kind of crazy, because normally when you're playing the game, you either go the early empire route or you go the foreign trade route, depending on, at least how I play, depending on whether or not I'm going to be aggressive or not. So to have foreign trade, well, to have early empire here and foreign trade there, basically would completely change it. Like, no matter what I would be doing, I'd probably go for early empire here pretty early on just to get the production towards settlers. That's interesting. All right, let's look at where everyone's at. So we got Maya's up here on the northwest. They got decent amount of room. They do have a volcano near their capital. Quite a few barbarians around. I think they toned up the barbarians again in the August 2020 patch, which is kind of sad because barbarians were kind of nice there, where they weren't really that scary at all. Now they seem to be a little more on the annoying side again. I feel like every patch they just somehow change the barbarians. But anyways, we got France the Magnificent down southwest here. And then this is interesting. Colombia's right smack dab between both of them. Although Colombia doesn't really have easy access over here to Maya. He's definitely going to end up blocking in France here before too long. So we'll have to see how that one shakes out. Directly east of Colombia then is Ethiopia. And then northeast all by himself is Teddy. So Teddy definitely has a huge advantage here. Mostly because he's just got all this freaking room, dude. Like, this entire continent doesn't have anyone on it. Okay, so I guess France could theoretically come up this way. All right, so maybe France isn't in as bad of a situation as I originally thought. Like, France is going to have enough room. The bigger issue is going to be the fact that she's going to have Grand Colombia right on her butt. I need to call it Gran Colombia, not Colombia. I know some people don't like that. Okay, so France ended up declaring war on Gran Colombia. I don't think France is going to be able to take anything, though, because she's a little too far away with the reinforcements. Now, what I'm wondering is anyone suzerain of Geneva? Geneva being in the game is interesting. So, Catherine does have the suzerain advantage of it right now, which means she was getting a science boost, but then she immediately switched off it. So, never mind. How are we looking here? Yeah, the game seems to be a little bit less laggy, other than, like, hey. So Teddy currently has a huge science advantage, and by huge, I mean 23 early game compared to 12 is pretty huge, I suppose. Ethiopia is a little far behind. I wonder why Ethiopia is so bad compared to everyone else. I'm assuming he didn't build a campus, and that must be why. Great people, great prophets are not done yet. Religions, we only have one, and that's Teddy. Yeah, Protestantism. Teddy's got it. Gran Colombia is still fighting off France, pretty successfully, I might add. Although he's running quickly out of troops, and France is bringing some reinforcements. He did just suzerain the Jerusalem troops here. He might actually lose Panama. The thing is, if he loses Panama, it's going to flip back. It's only a matter of time. But anytime we've seen an AI lose a city early game, I don't know we've ever seen them actually survive. All right, it looks like he'll be okay. He's got reinforcements in. France is pushing hard, but she's got basically like no HP here. And now she's just got the 2 units, and there's no way they're going to be able to take it with 20 HP. It's so close, man. She was so close. Seriously, like... Grand Columbia saved it just in time. The other thing we've noticed a lot of times is anytime an AI goes to war early and fails in that war, a lot of times that tends to set them back a little bit. So we'll have to see whether or not France can break that trend. Maya up here is having a huge issue here with the barbarians. What was Maya's unique unit? It's been a while. We hadn't played her since the beginning of the Frontier Pass. What's your unique unit? Replaces the archer. That's what I thought. Okay. I thought it was an early game unit. For some reason, I thought it replaced the slinger, but replacing archers probably pretty good. Does anyone have a unit that replaces slinger? Honestly, probably not, just based on how quickly slinger tends to get replaced by archer. But still, imagine a slinger unit that was just as strong as an archer. And then you just didn't upgrade it from an archer. That actually would be a really interesting unit. Well, a unit that maybe you start with at the beginning of the game, something like, you know, the war cart, something along those lines. Teddy's over here with America. He seems to have his lands pretty much under control. He's actually going to be able to get a lot of national parks if, you know, he was the player and not an AI that doesn't build national parks. But, you know, hey, Ethiopia is still kind of sprawling out here in the middle. We probably could have done a slightly smaller map because there's going to be a lot of room, but... it'll be okay. It's going to be more mid to late game wars here. And we're still getting a lot of France, Ethiopia wars, or sorry, Grand Columbia wars. Now, Grand Columbia is actually pushing towards France, but I'm wondering if they did just peace. How do I look at... Nope, they're still at war. They're still at war. All right, let's see how the tech tree ended up shaking out here. So we had astrology down here, which went, oh man. Same thing happened to me in my game where astrology was basically the prereq for iron, which is just horrific. Because astrology, especially since there's no natural wonders in the game, it will be really hard to finish this. It's a little more expensive, 40 science compared, actually, oh, so that's interesting. So they also changed the value. Normally astrology is pretty expensive, but you can see that the values now are actually based on their locations. Huh. So in that case, and I don't know if it's possible, but if bronze working popped up here and swordsman popped out there, you could have a really early swordsman game. Speaking of which, there is actually no swordsmen. Swordsmen are way up here. Wow, that's pretty terrible. She is immediately going straight for crossbows. She's about to pop out the crossbows too, which is rather interesting. Teddy, let's see where you went here with the tech tree. Yeah, see, swordsmen are all the way up there. That's terrible, man. Because you got iron down here, and then you got swordsmen up there on a whole different tree, which aren't easily, well, they're not really easily to get to. Political philosophy isn't really that bad to get to. It looks like, I think you might just need to get to foreign trade. They're all the way up here already. Divine Right is here. I'm kind of intrigued to see theology and Merchant Republic, how those are going to end up shaking out. So let's go ahead and click back to us. Teddy still hasn't met anyone, I don't think, either. Not that it particularly matters. Maya has pushed back the barbarians, although there's still an encampment back there, but she's okay. The fact that they spawned out the battering ram means that they got basically maximum threat, which is usually pretty bad, but she survived. I think one of the main reasons is because it got funneled. They all got funneled through that little territory, which is going to make it kind of hard to take over. Geneva is still holding on here. Marseille, okay. Ooh, interesting. So Ethiopia now has pushed over here and now borders both France as well as Grand Columbia. So we're going to have to see who likes who and who wants to fight who. Is there an easy way to see this? If I click on you, actually this is going to be great because this should put a pause in. Okay, Grand Columbia is still currently at war with France. France is still currently at war with Ethiopia. You are not a fan... sorry, Grand Columbia. You're not a fan of Ethiopia. France is not a fan of Ethiopia. Grand Columbia and Ethiopia are currently denounced. Ethiopia is not a huge fan of France. So there is potential that one of these wars is going to swap. The other thing to note, Ethiopia ended up with the Sanguine pack, so he now has vampires. His vampires are going to be rolling at combat strength of, it looks like 25 because of spearmen. No, he's got swordsmen, so they're running at 36. It's early enough, he only has the one. Gran Colombia ended up rolling around with Void Slingers. Void Slingers is the science one, if I remember. It's been a minute. They focus on religion. Oh, no, yeah, okay, they're the religious ones. Okay, with the relics. France, what did you end up with? France got the Owls of Minerva, which is kind of the, I would say, a cultural one. It's the one we had in our last game. And then Maya also Void Slingers, so you might be friendly eventually with Ethiopia. Do you know each other? Yeah, they do. I bet they'll actually be allies here long term, which is probably good for Gran Colombia because he could use some help here. And then your Void Slingers over here. Okay, so there's only one vampire right now. Anything else worth noting? Secret Society, Apocalypse Mode. Yeah, we still got a ways to go before no one has anything yet. And then Shuffle Text. So no, that's all the new stuff. Here we just, man, I wish they would just turn this off. Like, how have they not figured out to turn this off? I should actually hold up. We should go ahead and vote to condemn. Just because they will actually most likely vote the other way. Who ended up with the religions here? So 4 religions. Small has 4 religions. Why wouldn't it have 3? Anyways, America, Colombia, France, and Maya. So Ethiopia was the only one without a religion. Odds are I would not expect to see a religious victory. Now, the interesting thing is I don't know if it's possible to win a religious victory with this map. I think it is because we don't actually exist. I think it is. Certain AI mods you can't actually win. Yeah, no, because we've seen a religious victory on this mod before. Although, I will admit, it was a very long time ago. So, theoretically, things could have changed, but I doubt it. I also would love to turn these off, and I don't remember if there's a way. Yeah, I don't think there is. It'd be interesting just to watch it via that. Although, that hurts my brain. My brain just does not like that. Jerusalem, who are you with right now? You're currently Simone Bolivar. So, Gran Colombia, right? Yeah, because you're Menelik. So, you might have to worry about, probably not France, because you got pretty good defense this side, but you may have to worry about Ethiopia over here. Especially if that volcano keeps exploding on you. That could be a problem. Now, Gran Colombia still got a ton of room over here, so they're going to be pretty okay. Honestly, looking at this, Maya might be the one that might end up running out of space before anyone. Although they still have a lot of room as well. So there's still plenty of room to settle and expand. So at this point, if someone loses, it's not going to be because they didn't have enough room. I thought that said Lake Chemo. I was like, probably not a great name for a lake. Just gonna be honest. Gulf of Honduras. Wouldn't Gulf of Honduras come from like Gran Colombia? From them naming it? Not Teddy? Surely not, right? Also, Mount Nigragongo, that does not seem like a Teddy name either. So, interesting. And Lake Onega, like none of these are Teddy names. What the hell happened here, Teddy? Why'd you not get named of anything? Mississippi River, all right. Yukon River, yeah, that makes sense. Feldgis Lake? Feldgis Lake? The heck? Stearns County, Minnesota. Isn't this? Firaxis is in Minnesota, right? Firaxis, USA. I think they're in Minnesota, right? They're in Maryland? I thought they were in Minnesota. I know Fantasy Flight Games is in Minnesota. Why would they have some random freaking named lake from Minnesota? The other thing, and I don't think we see it, like, I would have to actually go look in the game files, but I'm pretty sure they don't ever have names for any of the Great Lakes. Which you might wonder, why would the Great Lakes not have a name? Because if you're talking about lakes in America, I mean, I would say Salt Lake because, you know, Salt Lake City. And then I would say most of the Great Lakes. Although you could argue Canada could be on some of those. But like Lake Erie, I think Lake Huron's mostly Canada, right? Lake Superior. Like, why would you not see those names? The only thing I can think of is they might actually be planning on adding those eventually as natural wonders, which I think it is in next year. They're supposed to be adding some more natural wonders, so I wonder if we'll actually see the Great Lakes at some point. Maybe that'll be a different game mode, or maybe even an updated map type. But yeah, like, why would they not be named after any of the Great Lakes? That to me is weird, unless of course they have plans for the Great Lakes. But I might be completely wrong, and the Great Lakes might actually be in the game. All right, so we got the next era. Oh, it's only the first one you have to vote for. I remember now. All right, let's take a quick look at everything before we get too much further. So, how's our war been going on? It's been pretty passive. No one's really been pushing too much. Are they even at war with each other anymore? No, they're not. France isn't at war. She is losing some loyalty here. She is losing some loyalty. How do we end up here? So this is medieval era, which classical, then medieval era. And we're about to get to the next era. But anyways, Lady Six Sky got a golden age. Everyone else got a normal age. So on equal ground, she's losing loyalty here. She doesn't have a governor there, so she can hold on to that if she so chooses, if it got to that point. Desi, I think, is still Ethiopia. I don't think that would be a French city. And once again, they're not at war, right? And I don't think they've been at war yet. They're not friendly with each other. They would be denounced if they were ever at war with each other. So, yeah, none of them are at war with each other as of yet. Grand Colombia is starting to expand eastward over here. He's popping out some Soothsayers. I wish we could actually see those, because I'm sure the sacrifice project started. It's not a project, whatever it's called. What are those? Oh, those are the ley lines. Ah, interesting. I've never actually used the civ or the secret society that's done the ley lines yet. So I was like, what the heck are those? Those are kind of interesting. So we can kind of get an idea of how many ley lines there are. But I don't think anyone has the ley lines, right? Teddy is rolling around with a ton of freaking wonders right now. And I bet if we looked at score, Teddy's probably in first, which would not be at all surprising. Dude, man, Maya, if she would have gotten those ley lines, oof, that's just sexy in her capital, because those are huge science, right? I think those give you a ton of science, but yeah, it seems pretty okay. Let's look at overall right now. France is currently leading with tech. She's making 128 per turn, which is pretty significant. Is there a specific reason she's making that much science, or is it just campuses? I think it's just campuses. All right, culture, Teddy is currently winning, but not by a whole lot. Domination victory is pretty even. Maya has the largest army. Teddy's actually really weak. And that's interesting. We're Catherine the Magnificent as a spectator. But French and Grand Colombia are both extraordinarily weak. So I wonder if Ethiopia is going to end up declaring war, seeing as how both of them are pretty weak. He is putting a city over here, which is just going to be an immediate flip unless he does go to war. Religious victory right now, Gran Colombia is currently winning. He's making 200 faith per turn. Maya is also making a lot of faith, and Francis as well. Even America. Actually, everyone that has a religion is making a lot of faith. I wonder if they're actually going that way. And then diplomatic, everyone's pretty neutralized, like pretty even. Religion, there's nothing spectacular happening there. We wanted to look at score. I thought there was something missing, and there is something missing, and that was the score tab. Because when we put the game in, when I switched over in the pre-lobby, I ended up putting no turn timer at one point. It turned off the score victory, and then I didn't click it back on. So yeah, there is the score tab missing, which in the scheme of things, I guess is okay. But the score is kind of nice to see because it gives you a good idea of who's leading, like who has the most territory, who has the most wonders and stuff like that, which we're not going to be able to see this game, but it'll be fine. So we're going to wrap this first episode up here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, comment, let me know what you think. As always, hit the subscribe button, join the game, comment, show your support. Tomorrow we'll be back with some more AI only and see who is going to be able to come out on top in this game. Till then, later everybody.